Greetings. This is a demonstration or tutorial of how to make a simple mask or face covering rather. All you really need is a paper towel, a high stitch count or thread count rather, cotton fiber. I've got a pillowcase, pillowcases, sheets, anything like that will work. You need a couple old shoelaces, just unlace an old pair of shoes, you need a pair of scissors and a pencil. And the idea is that anybody can do this. It shouldn't take you too long. I'm going to walk you through step by step. Okay, step number one, you're going to take your pillowcase and you're going to cut some seams so you end up with a flat piece of cloth. Now you might be just using a sheet. If that is the case with you, then you can skip this step. Now at the same time as I want to get rid of some seams, I actually do want to preserve some as well. So you can see this seam here I'm actually going to want to preserve, and that's going to make it easy for me to have a bottom seam on my face covering. So I'm going to preserve this seam, but I'm actually going to cut these two here so I can end up folding this out nicely and have one nice flat piece of cloth. Okay, now that we've got our nice flat piece of cloth, what we're going to do is we're going to cut a rectangle out of it. So it's a simple shape. And if you do have a nice seam like this, great. If not, then you can cut this rectangle out anywhere, preferably on a corner of a sheet if that's what you've got. But if you do have a seam like this, then what you're going to do is you want half of the rectangle to be here and half the rectangle to be here. You want the width from the base of your hand to your pointer finger. So this is where you want your width to be. And I'm just going to go ahead and mark that with a pencil. And that's going to be my width. And I'm going to do that same thing just a little bit further down. So start at the base of my hand, go to my pointer finger, and there you go. So pretty good, nice. And then in terms of my length, I want to go ahead and do it just like this. I'm going to take the length of my hand plus the width of my hand, so a length plus a width, and then I go ahead and mark it just like that. Okay, so you want to get your lines as straight as possible, but at the same time, remember, this is not a professional mask, so don't worry too much if your lines are a little bit sloppy. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. Just get them as straight as you possibly can. I'm literally just using a paper towel to make nice straight lines. That's fine. Okay? Boom. There you go. So now, just mark that corner point here. There you go. I've got that nice line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and cut this rectangle out, and then I'm going to fold it over and trace it on the other side, because the most important thing is that you have two rectangles that are exactly even. Alright, so I've cut out my first rectangle, so I'm just going to go ahead and fold that over. And the key here is that they're exactly the same, so just fold it over right on my seam. And again, if you don't have a seam, that's okay. Just create a line in the middle and just make it symmetric. Alright, so I'm going to fold this over, and then I'm going to go ahead and trace around the rectangle. Okay, now that I've got that cut out, I'm just going to go ahead and fold it over to make sure that I did a pretty decent job of making my rectangles even. At this point, you might want to go ahead and trim some things around the edges where you had some sloppy cuts like I do. Now that I've got my edges done, the part that I'm going to go on to now is going ahead and marking holes. And the way that this is going to work is this. I'm going to cut holes in this edge, then I'm going to fold it over and mark the holes in the same places on this edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use those holes and weave a shoelace through them. Okay, and the shoelaces basically take the place of sewing. So in order to mark the holes, I'm just going to be very simple. I'm going to start at the edges, and I'm going to just make them a thumb width apart. Here you go. Here is my first mark. I'm going to go ahead and make that. Now you want to make it a little bit off the edge. You don't want to make it right next to the edge. So, and then literally just use your thumb and make each hole a thumb width apart. Alright, now that I've marked the holes, I'm going to go ahead and cut them out. In order to cut them out, I'm just going to do a simple trick with my scissors here. And how I'm going to handle this is I'm going to fold over the edge, and then I'm just going to go ahead and create a diamond as a whole. Okay, so got it folded over. And just go ahead and create a little diamond. Put my scissors this way, and again that way. And there you go. Unfold it, and I've got my nice little hole. Cool. Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and do all of them that way. And it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, but you can do it. So if you were watching carefully, you will have noticed that I actually cut through my fabric right here. And that's totally okay. Is it ideal? No. But don't fret. If you mess up something like this, it's okay. It'll still work. You'll see in mine that it's going to be just fine. That's arguably the hardest part of this whole design, is just cutting these holes. But even if you do mess one up, it's totally okay. This design will still work. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fold this over to the other edge. And I'm going to mark the holes exactly where they are. So I'm going to match the holes on the other side. Alright, now that I've got those holes marked, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the holes on the other side, doing my best not to cut through this time. Alright, now that I've got the holes cut on both sides, the next step is to weave our shoelace through. Now, this whole thing is going to get turned inside out, so if you've got a pattern on one side, you're going to want to fold that over so the other side is showing. Now this step, all we're doing is we're weaving the shoelace through the holes. So, go ahead. Alright, and there we go. Now we just want to check to make sure that both sides are even. Okay, cool. Close enough. Now that we have that finished, all that we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and put our hand on the inside. We're going to flip it inside out. So put our hand through the inside, grab the other side, and flip it the other way around. Alright, now believe it or not, you are basically done with the mask. Okay, the only other thing that you have to do is you have to put this shoelace through this side, and that'll be your bottom tie. And there you have it. I almost forgot that the last and final step in actually building the mask is going ahead and placing in your disposable paper towel. Okay, so this is just going to add another layer of protection or a barrier for anything to get through the mask. You just go ahead, you might need to fold it over a little bit depending upon the size of your mask, and you just bring it in, and there you go. There you've got it. So now you are officially done building your mask. Next, we will see how to actually put the mask on. Now that we've got the mask built, the last and final step is of course putting the mask on. So what you want to do is take the edge that has the holes that the shoelace has been woven through. That's going to be your top edge. So you're going to put that over your nose, and you're going to tie it like that. And then with this bottom, you're not going to tie it back directly. You're actually going to cross them over. Make sure that they're nice even lengths, which would be good. You're going to cross them over and then tie it. You're going to pull it tight around your chin. That gets it nice and snug. And then tie it behind your neck. I'm just using regular shoelace bow ties. Square knots should work just fine. And there you have it. So the way that this mask fits, it's nice and tight under the chin, and it fits snug on the cheeks. And you've got a little bit of room up here. If you want, you can stick a paper clip in here. I didn't necessarily recommend that because there's danger of it potentially poking you in the eyes. If you want to put a paper clip in here, you can do that and just have it hooked up to the shoelace. But that's your choice if you so choose. And there you go. That's it. It's nice and snug. You can see when I breathe in, it's got some suction. When I exhale, it blows out. So there you have it. Mask is done. Okay, now of course when taking the mask off, you just reverse, untie it. Now this paper towel you can dispose of. The shoelaces can come right out. And now you're going to go ahead and put this in the wash along with the shoelaces. Wash them nice, and you can hang them out to dry. I think it's best, you probably don't want to put the shoelaces in the dryer. But with that, that's the end of the process. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this blesses you and helps you. Thank you.